My gosh, I've been giving you guys lots of content today. It's my third video today. What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Goon and Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time I'm previewing the Everton versus Arsenal game, Freddie's final game, and in charge of the team. And it's been an interesting 24 hours for us, 48 hours for us, week for us, in a week where it became very clear that Arsenal had one contender for the job in mind, and that was Mikel Arteta, and they've only gone and hired him. I don't know what to say. It's a surprise. It's a slight disappointment. It's an exciting one. It's a scary appointment. It's everything all wrapped up into one. It really is. From my perspective, I'm still scared. I still think it's crazy, ridiculous that we've hired a manager with no experience to take one of the top jobs in football. I still don't understand necessarily the logic. Hi, Arsenal 10234. Hi, Ben. Hi, Phil. Hope you're well. I think it's ridiculous Hi, Kevin. Hope you're well. That we've asked this man to take up a job, not just one of the top jobs in football, but actually at a club where we're having so many problems at the moment, where we're battling relegation in some respects, where we're battling almost to keep our identity, to keep our status as supposedly this top football club. And we've decided to hire Mikel Arteta. Just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense in my view. But this is what the manager has decided. Sorry, this is what the higher-ups at Arsenal have decided to do. We've gone with it. And I must admit, as I said, big up to you, VP. Thank you for the donation, buddy. I think it's to me, it's a big challenge that Mikel has in front of him. But one thing I will say, I was very impressed with his press conference. He's he's saying the right things. He seems like he's a determined character. I could see how people would mistake that for arrogance. I will say this, and exactly 100% agree. Even an experienced manager would have his hands full with his squad. Never mind an inexperienced manager. But listen, I know what people are going to say. Well, Chib, don't be negative. It's done what is happened now. It is what it is. I've got news for you people. I am going to be shitting myself until Arteta starts getting a few games under his belt and picking up some wins. So this is not being negative. This is just a reality. I'm not an oblivious character. As I mentioned yesterday, a lot of my job is about managing risk. So something like this just gives me anxiety, to be honest. We're taking a huge gamble on a man that hasn't had no managerial experience. And in fact, as far as I can see, has gotten the job predominantly based on recommendations and the fact that he's worked with Pep. So let's see. But I will say this, I was impressed with his press conference. He seems to know what he's talking about. As I mentioned in the video that I just did, I'm not going to start it as a brand new thing, by the way. It was just, he's a new manager, so of course I had to do a first press conference reaction. And he seems like a very steely character. He seems like a character that ain't afraid to come forward. And I like that. I like the idea that he might want to take some people on, if necessary, in order to get his point across. And I think it will be interesting to see how the team evolves over the next few weeks, because this is not going to be an immediate reaction thing. I think this is going to be a rebuild. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, I think, and today, actually, big up to you again, VP, brother. Rum is at the ready, particularly for tomorrow. Yeah, I think from my perspective, what is going to be important is, so what I said in the video today is sometimes when you have a house and you've inherited a house, you need to be able to be honest with yourself about the house. So if you see that there are cracks in the house and the roof needs fixing and there's a bit of damp, you don't just carry on with the house. You fix those issues, no matter what it costs, even if it means gutting that house and starting again. And I think, if we're honest, we need gutting. We need gutting it and starting again. And even if that house is now based on young players, so be it. I think this is why I would take the Aubameyang offer. If Real Madrid are serious and they're putting up 30 million plus Jovic plus Ceballos, Ceballos is a player I still think will come good under the right hand. And I've got a feeling with Arteta, he'll get the best out of Ceballos. They play the exact same position and they're both Spanish. So if Arteta really is this genius tactical coach, surely he can do something with Ceballos. Yeah, I think that could be a good deal. And then I think what you then do is you get Jovic, and honestly, at this point, I'd sell Lacazette as well. And then I'd go and bid for what's his name, Zaha, and bring him in. Don't even mess around. And then just add that balance to the team. So then you have your two Ivory Coast guys either side of your attacker. In my opinion, that would be Martinelli as the main striker. How dynamic is that team? That team is scary. And then you still have Jovic in the background waiting to burst through. That to me is a team. That to me is how you move forward. I agree with you, Jeremiah. That to me, I really liked. I really liked the fact that he's going to because that was what I was saying in my earlier video, that he had a feeling that he knows what happened, but he's still going to try and investigate why the culture went bad. That was what I was referring to. So the fact that he even has an idea what happened lets me know that maybe he has an idea who, rather than what, changed the culture. So let's see what he does. I like it. Let's see. I see Matt House. Oh, you've actually got something in common with Lee then. I'm not at that stage yet. I'm neither in or out. I'm just kind of waiting to see. I think it's, I love my brother Lee, and he's absolutely welcome to his opinion. I think it's mad to be either, to be honest. I think it's one of those ones where you have to just say to yourself, all right, I'll be lying to you if I said I wanted them, because I didn't. It still makes me feel uncomfortable. But I kind of feel like you have to just, if this is who they've gone with, let's wait and see. Let's see what happens. Hold on, silly in a good way or silly in a bad way? That's the question I've got to ask you there, Kevin. Who am I having in defense and midfield? What for tomorrow? Now that's the question. Because as we focus on the game, Everton have been having somehow a worse season than us. Hold on, fully agreed, Chig. Jovic would be like Giroud as that impact sub with presence. Agreed, Phil. That's my thought process behind that. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I just feel like you can't be any. That's just my view. I'm kind of waiting and seeing. As we move on to Everton, it is Freddie's last game. And you know what? To me, the one thing that's gone awry from all this is Freddie. I actually think Freddie, I feel for him a little bit, because I actually agree with something Troop said in his preview. Freddie, the one thing I'll say for Freddie is he would have been really looking forward to this opportunity, finally getting to manage the club that made him. And they never gave him a chance. They never gave him the tools he needed in order to make a success out of that job. And it's a shame, because when you take a step back and look at it, what does Arteta have that Freddie doesn't? What does he have? They have the exact same managerial experience. Nil. So I feel for Freddie because he must have been like, what? So you didn't even want to give me a chance to see if I can hold on to this thing. Yeah, I think from my perspective, Freddie has conducted himself very well in a very classy manner, and he's done himself well. He's done himself justice, and he's really shown that he is an Arsenal legend. That he was prepared to just step in, do a job, and hold the fort. And for that, I commend him. I really do. I commend him. Supposedly, he's favourite for the Malmo job. I don't know if someone was just winding me up there. I haven't had an opportunity to look into that yet. But if he does go on to actually get himself managerial experience and proves himself, I would love to have another look at him. But I think no matter what happens, all the best to Freddie. I think he's done amazingly well, given the circumstances. All right, let's talk about the actual game. Now, Everton themselves, they've been somehow having the worst season than us up until recently. And Everton, it seems like every other club can do the legend giving the club a boost thing apart from Arsenal. Arsenal, the only team that can't do that shit. Because Everton have obviously had their famous legend, Duncan Ferguson, come up, and he's getting the best out of them. He's getting some fight out of them. I mean, they were unlucky to get knocked out of the quarterfinals of the League Cup. They went 2-0 down to Leicester. Leicester are an informed team. They're, other than Liverpool, they're the most scary team in the Premier League right now. And Everton said, fuck this. Let's actually, if we're going to go out, let's go out swinging. And they got it back to 2-2. And it was only penalties that knocked them out in the end. And it just shows you that if you fight, you're half a chance against anyone. And what worries me is Arsenal struggle to teams that fight. They struggle. And Everton are a team that fights. Not only that, historically, when do we ever do well and go to Goodison? I don't care how well we're playing. We always struggle at Goodison. Always. Yeah, we've had a couple of freak results here and there. Like I remember a 5-2. I remember that. Don't get me wrong. I also remember losses when it comes to Everton. It's not a game I'm looking forward to. You know we're going to turn Iwobi into a prime Messi. You know it's happening. Theo Walcott's all of a sudden going to remember how to kick ball, although I think he's injured. We're all of a sudden going to turn their players into pros. It's going to be like Barcelona, So I feel like from our perspective, we need to just be able to switch on, contain, and hit them on the break. I think that's all we can do. We're going to need everyone fighting. We're going to need everyone playing. And I want no lackluster performances. Obviously, Freddie is in charge for this game because I don't think Arteta's actually led a training session. He met the players officially today. He was able to have a quick chat with them, but he hasn't took charge of any training sessions or anything. And my understanding is that he came halfway through a training session and then obviously went into the press conference. So, yeah, he hasn't had an opportunity to kind of fully immerse himself yet. Obviously, the Bournemouth game will be a good idea of how Arteta wants us to play, what kind of team Arteta's going to roll out. But he'll be able to at least get a bird's eye view of the team. One thing that was very interesting from his press conference, and me and Lee called this at the time during the watch along, was he said in the press conference that he was watching the game and he was immediately very down as to how Arsenal conceded their third goal. And he looked at, if you go back and rewatch that game, you watch the way his face drops, like, oh shit, what have I agreed to take over from? Because he could see the mess. I mean, by all intents and purposes, Arteta was the reason Man City beat us at home last year, because he could identify that Arsenal were leaving gaps. I mean, anyone with eyes can see this, but Arsenal were leaving huge gaps between the midfield and defense. So it was Arteta's tactic that he kept instructing Mendy to just put crosses in, and we'll score off them because of the gap that they're leaving. That's exactly what happened. Bernardo Silva scored from Mendy's cross. So he clearly has an eye for little kind of defensive faults that we have. And I think nothing is going to give him a better idea of that than watching the ball game from the stands. Obviously, he's an Everton legend himself, interestingly enough. He's more of a legend for Everton than he is for us. Let's put it that way. So I'm hopefully he won't be lynched out there. But yeah, I think from his perspective, he'll be able to get an idea of what the problems are. And then if he's this miracle worker, the way people are saying he is, then I'm hoping to see some real results against Bournemouth. Luckily, that's a really good game for him to start because Bournemouth don't travel well. So even though I know they won last weekend, but on the whole, they don't travel. I know they beat Chelsea last weekend, but on the whole, their away record ain't great. So let's see. So anyway, I've rabbited long enough. You're probably sat there thinking, all right, Chig, but what's your team though? So, all right, this is the team that I have in mind. You ain't going to like it. I'm going to tell you now, you ain't going to like it. But my idea behind this team is to contain and break. Contain and then break. And I want you to keep that in mind. So with that in mind, this is my team to play Everton tomorrow. My team, mind you, not the one Freddie will go with. All right, let me show you. 2 secs. All right, hope you can see that. Let me try and increase the size. There you go. Is that better? Right. So this is my team to play. I hope you can see that well. I think from my perspective, I wanted to contain. I want to try and improve the space that we always leave here. And I wanted these two to be able to do their thing without worrying too much. Now, obviously, the one thing about Arteta coming in, the one good thing about any new manager coming in, is you would think that these players would be wanting to impress. Especially some of the French players or the players, like I imagine Martinelli will want to keep his name in the pot for starting. So I imagine he'll look to impress, as will Pepe. I think Pepe will be the biggest benefactor, I think, of us changing our style. Clearly, the pragmatic approach does not suit Pepe as a player, but I think the attacking approach will. And let's face it, if this guy ends up leaving, Pepe all of a sudden becomes one of the big focal points of our team, particularly attacking-wise. So it's really best that we get the best out of our £70 million man. All right, so let me talk you from bottom to top. Leno, I think, has been in good form lately. I know what you guys are saying. I see you in the chat room. You're still not impressed with his distribution. At this point, I don't see his distribution getting any better. But shot-stopping wise, you can't mess with him. You can't mess with him. And I think he's in good form lately, generally. So, yeah, I'll give Leno a go. Now, obviously, the controversial call here is this man, because I absolutely refuse to put David Luiz in the team. And I actually think that Mustafi has been playing okay this season when used in very, very small batches. The only thing I'd probably change is do this, or perhaps Mustafi in the middle, maybe. But given the way Chambers passes the ball, actually, I'd rather Chambers in the middle. Chambers, I ain't been happy with him. I've not been happy. I've been very disappointed with him. After months of trying to convince people that he's not that bad in defense, he's had a couple of real stinkers in defense. But I still think if you play him there, obviously, if you wanted to change the shape, you could even play him as a defensive midfielder, go into a 4. So it gives you that option. It was the one reason I was tempted to play David Luiz, and then I thought, actually, I don't even want him in that role. So, yeah, for me, I've gone with Chambers. Plus, I noticed that Socrates and Chambers, on the whole, plays a lot better than Socrates and Luis. So I've gone with experienced back three. Because at this point, my man's 25, I think. So he's experienced. Got with Saka, left wing back. Clearly his best position. Delivers a good ball. I don't think he's skillful enough to play as an attacking front three. I've said that for some time. So I think Saka is a left wing back. Let's see where we go. Anything Maitland-Niles, I'm sorry, brother. We just have no other option. And for the simple reason that we have no other option, I have to play you there. Guendouzi, because you guys know I like Guendouzi. I'm one of the few that still does. I think even if Xhaka wasn't injured, and I assume he's still injured, he's the guy that I think will come and collect the ball and do his thing. Plus, if Xhaka really is wanting to leave, then quite honestly, F him. Straight up. I know I've put the number 10 on Torreira, but believe me, I don't want him playing up there. I want him playing here, just marshalling, doing his thing. Obviously, this will be his third manager of the season, so with Arteta, he may really need to get into Torreira and find out, is he cool? Is he good to go? Or is his mind completely turned to Italy? So that will be one of Arteta's biggest challenges, actually, will be Torreira. And then you've got the front three. Now, obviously, the problem with this is that there's going to be a lot more emphasis on Guendouzi, not only getting forward, but actually delivering a lot more balls than he normally would, because we don't have a number 10. Now, I assume Mesut Ozil will either be injured or something. Either way, you don't get in my team anyway. I think moving forward, probably Ceballos will play that role. And obviously, I won't be in a back five, so I'll be able to have that option of a Ceballos. But because I've gone with containing and I'm worried about Everton's pace and power with Richarlison and Iwobi, so I've gone with a containing sort of thought process. I'm just trying to let you guys into my mind as to what I'm thinking. So I think for that reason, I've just decided not to go with a number 10. So there's going to be a lot more emphasis, unfortunately for the kid, in Martinelli coming deep, collecting the ball and charging. I think there will also be emphasis on Pepe doing that. And I think for Ainsley Maitland-Niles, the one thing he does well is he overlaps. So that allows Pepe to move in. I think he likes playing with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, as opposed to Chambers, where Chambers would come here. Pepe would have to drop deep, collect the ball, and then he sometimes loses it around here. Whereas with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I know he frustrates a lot of people, but the one thing he does is he's an athlete, and he will just run up, down, up, down. And what that will do is will open up space for Pepe to be able to work his magic and do his thing. With Uber, it's simple. You're hoping really that he just scores. As the best way of shutting people up. I'm sure he'll want people to shut up because we have spoken a lot about him and his brother this week. So yeah, that is my shape. That is my idea for playing against Everton. Like I say, I'm not expecting you guys to love it, but that's what I think. So I'm hoping you guys can see that quite clearly. Can't tell if you can see that clearly. Yeah, ish. Anyway, let me see what you lot are saying in the chat room. What do you think of the team? Yeah, you could put Laka on the bench. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Laka as a number 10. I have seen people suggest this. Sorry, did I turn the camera off? I meant stop sharing. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Laka as a number 10, and certainly not against Everton. I want 10 outfield, hard-working runners. And I think for better or worse, I think they will be working hard. I'm hoping Aubameyang will be working hard anyway, so we'll see what happens. That's my view. Honestly, what do I think will be the result of this game? 1-1. I can't see us beating Everton. I can't see it. I can't see it. Especially the way how hard they're working and how Duncan Ferguson has them playing. I can't see it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 1-1. It's not a loss, I guess, and it allows Freddie to, whether he stays with us or rise into the sunset onto a new team. It just signs Freddie off nicely. So yeah, 1-1. Let's see where we go. All right, guys. So it's 10:37 now. How about we go to 11:15, and then I'll sign off. Yeah, 11:15. Any questions you guys have? What would your teams be? Do you guys have any predictions? Give me an idea. Y'all understand a high line, mid block, low block. You set up defense that will suit the high line, suit the line height, I should say. Okay. Saka Martinelli link up would be good. Yeah, I think so too. I do think they both run quite a lot. I think Saka works harder than people give him credit for. We know that Martinelli is an absolute beast when it comes to working hard. So yeah, I think that will be a nice, youthful, fresh left side to the team. And the right has the potential, not necessarily of being as talented, but as working as hard. They're both young. Enzo Mendenhall is what, 21? Pepe's 24. So I think it's just about working hard and running, because they're going to need to run a lot against Everton, I think. Especially with Richarlison on the whatever side he plays. Let's be honest. Chig, what formation will Everton have on the pitch? So they have been playing two number 10s behind a striker. Sometimes Calvert-Lewin is playing as a striker. Sometimes Richarlison is played as a striker, but that didn't work too well for them. I want to see what they played against Leicester. That'll give me an idea. Hold on one sec. Should have checked that out, really. But I have been I've kind of been loosely scouting Everton. Just loosely. Hold on. So yeah, their lineup was a 4-4-2 against Leicester. They had Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up top, Iwobi on the right-hand side, and Bernard on the left. I forgot about Tom Davies. Tom Davies is another decent young player that they have. They have Mina as in their defense. Leighton Baines got a game, which I was like, oh my gosh, Leighton Baines is still playing ball. Against United, where they were leading a lot of that game. Against United, where they were leading a lot of that game, they were again 4-4-2. So that gives you an idea of what I guess Duncan Ferguson likes setting up in. I swear they switched up their shape though one time. Have I gone mad? Yeah, so they beat Chelsea. What did they beat Chelsea with? What shape? It was 4-4-2. Except Iwobi was on the left this time. Theo Walcott was on the right. So yeah. All right, so we know what they're gonna go with. 4-4-2 will be the lineup. So yeah. Saka is too small. What, to play left wing back? All right, mate. Big game for our confidence. Chelsea and United and Leeds coming up. Agreed. And Leeds is on my birthday, so they better not mess that up. Richarlison is a dangerous player. They lose, but if they show us grit and heart, it's a start, I guess. Our midfield is absolute garbage, even though I think Xhaka and Torreira are our best pivot pairing. For Ljungberg will be pouting someone else. Uh-oh. I see Matt Hales is revving that engine in Matt Hales style. He's had a few weeks off of just being cool, calm. He's revving that engine on now. Walcott will be coming off the bench probably. I half think he's injured. I don't know why I think that. I feel like he's injured. Sabidi is injured same time as DeJane, so Ben starts. If Pepe can't cause him problems, I don't know what can. Having said that, Jagielka played last season. He scored, they won, and Jagielka got man of the match in that game. I remember that game. He had an amazing game. He had an amazing game. All right, guys. Let me know what you think. Just before we sign off, give me your predictions at least. Please tell me you've hit that like button. Abuse it, crush it, destroy it, drop kick it, stump a mud hole in that like button for me. You know I always appreciate it. I never take it for granted when you guys do that. So please do stump a mud hole in that like button for me. I hate Mustafi. So do I, mate. So do I. All right, some score predictions. Here we go. From the chosen 2-1 Everton. You're a young buck, bruv. I see you. You're a young buck. 2-2 M-Mac. Gone for Desmond. Desmond ain't a bad choice, actually. I've gone for 1-1, but actually thinking about it, could be a 2-2. They're always high-scoring games, so I think that's actually a pretty decent prediction. I might change it. You don't want to change it. Desmond, I'm going with it. I agree with you, man. M-Mac, 2-2. I forget there are goals in this game normally. 3-2 Everton, 2-1, I'm guessing, to Everton. 3-1 Everton. and his bent legs. Matt, if you know, you know. 2-1 win. Phil Hooks, 2-1 win. 2-0 Everton. 2-2 on a stump of mud hole with Josh Kroenke. They could try. Buster, I see you are a WWE fan, or were at least. 1-0 to the Arsenal. 3-1 Everton. Sigurdsson will be controlling the midfield and score a free kick. Actually, Everton fans ain't all that happy with Sigurdsson. But he is a free kick specialist. DJ Crane. Game is at 4:30 a.m. Gosh, damn. Bruh, sleep. I couldn't do it. Not for this Arsenal side. I couldn't do it. Sleep. Don't even do it, bro. Don't even do it to yourself, bro. Don't even do it to yourself. Put a watch along on in the background, and if you happen to wake up and me and Lee cursing, then you know what time it is. You know what's happened. 2-1 Laka Ozil. Okay. You're going with 2 out-of-form players for that one. G the PT. My guy. Cougar's bent legs. I see G the PT knows what I'm talking about. Shout out Thai boxing. These players need to play for Freddie. That catchphrase was of the Nature Boy, Buddy Landell. Could see you're an old timer. Guendouzi and Torreira, that brilliant midfield. No game at 12:30. No game's on at 12:30. Reese, you gotta understand, my bro. There are people all around the world. It's on at 12:30 for us, not for these lot. These lot have to get up at dumb times. Guendouzi isn't good enough to play in a midfield pivot. Is definitely a number 8. I played him as a number 8. I feel bad for Americans and other countries have to watch this crap at ridiculous times. Me too, Ben. Me too, bro. I couldn't do it. Not this Arsenal side. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm hearing Chambers will play left back. David Luiz will play. Oh, we might as well write off the game now. If I see Chambers at left back, I'm going to be vexed. I'm not going to lie. Game's on at 7:30. Even 7:30, bro. Even 7:30, bro. On a Saturday. Like I get up earlier than that on a weekday, but on a Saturday. For this Arsenal side, I'd do it. I wouldn't be happy about it. But big up to you, man. Thank you for the donation as well, bro. Appreciate it. Lacks defensive awareness, stretch runners, starter. I do agree with you. I think that's the weakest part of his game. His concentration and losing midfield runners. I agree. But he does buy fouls. I do think his ball control is very good. I think he's a better passer than Granit Xhaka. I think he dictates play very well. I think the offensive part of his game is excellent. It's the defensive part that is poor. Bro, you're kidding, Jon Snow. What did Jon Snow say now? Yeah, he must be trolling. Jon Snow occasionally trolls. I mean, his name is a troll. I mean, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I just watched the predestination. Brother, that must be a typo. So I'm going to assume you meant presentation. And it blew my mind. What presentation? I'll be up at 6:30 for my boys. You Americans are legends, bro. Tell you, Americans and Aussies, when it comes to their football, they don't mess around, boy. They will get up at that time if they need to. Chig, we don't have fullbacks. Nope, we don't. We don't. Who would I sign in Jan? Some fullbacks. I thought we should have signed fullbacks before. We definitely need them now. We definitely need them. Some fullbacks and a defensive midfielder, please. And if we have any change left, a centre back. What's an amazing movie? Oh, okay. You would say it wasn't. It wasn't. I just watched Presentation. It blew my mind. Okay, so it was a film. I've never heard of it. I'll look into it though. Yeah, you're right, Chelsea. You're right. But he's also 20 years old, bruh. That will improve. But you're right. Yep. And Matt, for me, immediately. I'll go and slap 20 million on Norwich and say, all right, let's be realistic, innit? And go and get Max Aarons straight away. Apart from anything, that kid can play left or right back. Then we're going to get him straight away. Right back is his preferred position. He can also play left. That's your immediate fix right there. We should sell Ozil and get Grealish or McGuinn. I'll tell you what, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm not against the idea of Grealish. He's good, man. I have to hold my hands up because I was running my mouth about him about a year ago. I wouldn't be unhappy. I wouldn't. If we went and got Grealish to replace Ozil, if Ozil really is going to Fenerbahce, which I have my doubts about, I'm not against it. I would get Cantel. He runs with the ball. Grealish is decent. Grealish can ball. He can. And if Jon Snow and Buster agree, and these two are harsh critics of players, you know he's a good player. Normally I agree with you, Matt, but I must admit, this season I think he's doing well. I'm reluctant to admit it, but I think he's good, and he's still pretty young, so he'll only get better. So I think, depending on, and you don't imagine Villa would be reasonable in the money they'd ask for, because quite rightly so, he's their captain and their most important player. But I think if they were reasonable with the money that they wanted, 40 million, I'll take a punt. More than that, probably not. I don't know who McQueen is. I'm trying to think. I'll be honest. I can't remember who he is. Got an Arteta out here. All right, guys. I would 100% because he's better than any defender we have at the moment. Grealish needs to get a new haircut. It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not 2008 anymore. All right, guys. I am bouncing. But thank you so much for watching. Please do stick a like on this video. Crush, destroy, abuse it, destroy it, elbow it, drop kick it, knee it, whatever you got to do. But keep that like button down on the YouTube channel, on the video you're watching right now. I hope you've liked the 3 videos I've dropped today. I'll be back tomorrow with Lee doing a review and preview on this channel. Sorry, a review and player ratings on this channel. We'll obviously be doing the watch along, which is at 12:30 for the game. I hope you guys come and join us for that game. And brace yourself, because it'll probably be a bumpy ride. And then, yeah, I'll be with you throughout the weekend, dropping you videos. Eagle Eye's coming back this weekend. Chopping Blocks coming back on Sunday. Let's just get it popping. Let's just do this thing. We back, baby. All right, I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.